Well, cricket commentator and analyst Hussein Manack now joins us via video link to weigh in on the ICC Men's T20 World Cup. So Hussein, thank you so much for being with us. Exciting, nail-biting times as we're now entering the business end of this tournament, and the Proteas play England today and the West Indies come Monday. So I suppose their most important matches of the tournament and matches that they need to win if they actually want to advance to the semi-finals.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Alicia. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. It's the business end of the tournament now. We haven't quite got to the actual knockouts. I mean, the semi-final is when it's do or die. But I think certainly the business end, where South Africa now in a group of four, and it's England, West Indies, South Africa, and then, of course, USA. South Africa have won one, and England have won one. And England have a big win. They beat West Indies, which is a huge victory. So they certainly look like they found a little bit of form after starting a little sedately. And South Africa have had a few narrow wins. One of them against Nepal, and the other also a narrow win against, I think it may have been USA. So they also been flirting a little, but let's just hope for some South African perspective that they can keep going.
Look, Quinton de Kock having a great game this afternoon, but the Proteas, Hussein, have not fired on all cylinders yet. Why do you think that is? Do they not have a lot at stake at this point?
Yeah, they do. I mean, remember they started their campaign in New York. They played, I think, 3 of their first round games in New York. And the New York pitch, as it turned out, was not great for batting. So it was a pretty difficult pitch to bat on and easier for batting. I see now they're 36 for no loss after 3 overs. So it looks to me like Quinton de Kock's finding his feet. A few of the other batters will hopefully get going again. And perhaps they can start playing, let's just call it normal cricket. And then let's just see, they have to take it from there. But I think it wasn't easy going in New York. And I think they would just be happy that they got out of the US and survived and got into the West Indies, into the, like you say, the business end, where they're still playing some decent cricket. But it's really going to come down to the high-pressure business now as you get towards the do-or-die games, particularly if they qualify for the semi-final. Remember, in this group of 4, you have to win at least 2 games to at least stand a chance. So South Africa, it's a big game for them today because they've won one already. But if they lose here, then the next game becomes really important, and that's against West Indies.
And speaking of that difficult pitch, Hussein, I mean, England have also struggled along the way and were actually lucky enough to advance to the Super 8 stage. But they recorded a comfortable victory over the Windies in St Lucia yesterday. And the fact that they are actually playing at the same venue today will probably be to their advantage, don't you think?
It gives them an advantage. Remember, yesterday also they batted second. So today I see they've won the toss and decided to bowl first, which means they're going to be chasing again. And they started off nicely. So they're 41 at the moment after 4, which is about 10 and over. But, if they get through about 50 to 60 in that first power play of 6 overs, then it's about just continuing that run rate and see if they can get pretty close to 180 or 200. If they can post about 180 to 200, we're going to have a very interesting game.
And here's a general question, Hussein, and I think we need you to shine more light on this, particularly for myself as well as the viewers, since you're the expert. I mean, throughout the T20 World Cup, teams have generally opted to field first after winning the toss. But people want to know, why do you think this is?
I think, Alicia, a lot depends on the conditions. So, they will get to the ground and then have a look innings, the first 6 overs. And in many of these low or high, let's call it high-scoring venues, where the pitches are good for batting, particularly now in the West Indies, people enjoy chasing. And it's not easy as a bowling team to defend the total when you're bowling second. So maybe that explains it, but as I say, a lot depends on the conditions as well.
And in closing, Hussein, I mean, looking at the current standings and how the various teams are actually performing, what are your overall predictions? Are we in any position to bring the cup back?
Yeah, Yeah, I certainly think, I mean, West Indies for me, they've lost their first game now in this group game. So that would be a big blow to the tournament. And I think for the home fans, if West Indies lose another one. But I think they would have certainly started out as favourites. India are always favourites. They play so much T20 cricket and they've got a really power-packed team. South Africa always stand a chance, I think, because South Africa always compete. They always come through the initial rounds. They're very, very strong, well-balanced team, and they can beat almost anybody on their day. But it's really, from a South African point of view, it's really how well they perform under pressure, how well they can chase a big total when it comes to the knockout games. And I think that's where really it's going to get exciting and maybe more high pressure from a South African perspective. But there's some good teams in the tournament, you know. I mean, I saw, I've been watching Afghanistan, even in the previous World Cup, the 50-over World Cup, and even now. You know, you can't really call them associate nations anymore. You can't call them an up-and-coming a nation anymore. They play some good cricket. We saw Nepal challenge South Africa by 1 run. Netherlands we saw. So there's a lot of countries, even USA. I mean, for USA to beat Pakistan and compete with South Africa, almost beat South Africa, it tells you that the gap now between, you know, your so-called test-playing nations and associate nations are becoming marginal now. So it's not just a predictable game when you play against a weaker nation. You still got to really play good cricket.
Absolutely. We might just be looking at some underdogs causing an upset there. Thank you so much, Hussein, for that comprehensive input there. That is Mr. Hussein Manack there, who's a cricket commentator as well as analyst, also weighing in on the current T20 World Cup.